Welcome to The Cloaked. We are a collective of inquiring minds seeking answers to mysteries both past and present. Join us on our journey to discover that which remains hidden. And now, on with the show.
He is connected to a lot of this technology that was it's still considered ahead of its time, but at the same time, with all the information that he was throwing out, kind of definitely solidified a lot of the ufologists' information, and everything from where he. So those people who don't know about Bob Lazar, he was prolific in the UFO community and getting that information out to everyone. So what this means is that by him coming out from that world and saying, hey, this exists, this is real, I worked on this, I did this, I did that, and then by him coming out of the shadows after saying this information, kind of put him in the crosshairs. And so he got discredited. As soon as he came out and said, hey, this Area 51, this is S4, this is kind of the technology that's being given by the extraterrestrials.
Back engineering, UFOs.
There's 9 UFOs that they have there. There's even, at one point he said that what he saw, and he doesn't think it was an alien that was working there. He saw, as he was passing a hall, he saw a glimpse of something, less than a split second of something in long arms, would seem to be communicating with two individuals in some kind of like hazmat suits. Damn. So he says this in the documentary. He said this before in other documentaries and other interviews that he saw this as he was passing. Pandora, you heard in the documentary as he was saying this statement. What did you think as he said that? Like, do you think he was talking about? He himself doesn't think it was an alien, but what do you think?
That part was weird because he says he thought he saw like a figure, right?
Yes.
But he doesn't think it was like an actual live thing.
Yeah, he
doll
doesn't think it was. He thinks it was some kind of robotic doll of some sort. Maybe what they were moving around in this box setting, so to speak, was probably a doll.
Could it be a dummy, like a test dummy?
Maybe it was a test dummy. But many people think that they think that maybe he saw an actual alien and they were just communicating with them through these hazmat suits because radiation or whatever. Being exposed to this material could pretty much instantly kill you. So,
I mean, maybe they're just taking no risks. I mean, why would you?
Because
even if it was like not an alien, but if it was like a dummy that had been exposed, I mean, why would you expose yourself then to that?
I mean, for the sake of science and reverse. I mean, these guys are getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's why they're in the hazmat suits. What I'm saying.
Right. Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of that's kind of a thing, right? It's kind of like him being put in this position. But again, I mean, we're going back to the, looking at this documentary takes you back to the 80s when he came out. I obviously wasn't there at that time to see this interview, but only into like recent times since I got into UFOs. But you look at his interview back with the Las Vegas TV station KLAS, when he first came out under the name Dennis, and talked about him being employed at this S4 facility, which was under the U.S. Air Force at the time. So again, this was one of the places where he talks about, hey, look, I interviewed for this. I didn't think I qualified, but I went through the process. And as soon as I was getting hired and all the hiring process was happening in the back end, they gave him documents where he went and reviewed and started playing catch up with all the stuff that was happening,
all the research, all the documentation.
Exactly,
because he was new to the project.
Yeah, he was new to the project, exactly.
And they wanted him to figure out this shit, right?
Right.
Like, we have this technology, we found it, and supposedly came from Zeta Reticuli, right? Like that's where these aliens exist, right? And for some reason, they came all the way to Earth. And I don't know how many light years that star system is, but they came over
10,000.
10,000
light years away. It's they're the part of the gray aliens, orbiting a twin binary star system.
Yeah, that's Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that's light years, right?
Right.
So they didn't take 10,000. They probably had some other technology to get them. They went on a mission for 10,000 years to get to Earth.
No, I think it has. They obviously, if your technology is so far advanced that you get to a place that's 10,000 light years away, you're working with something that's far beyond human comprehension. So sure. I'm talking about they probably have like a Stargate, something like a wormhole or something where they can. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand when it's a Stargate. A lot of people just think about like the movie or the TV series Stargate. It's literally like a system where you're able to either A, dial, or B, it automatically finds into the area that the other wormhole is already indicated at. So if you go through that wormhole, it's going to point you through this other star system. If you go through that other wormhole, it's going to take you to that other system. So it could be either or. I mean, they either have figured out that by them traveling so many times that if you go through here, it takes you there, or if it's a
there's like a highway system.
And like a highway system.
They built it, or
it's been there. They somehow have figured it out, and which is pretty interesting. And so as the documentary continues, he talks about what he's currently doing, what's been happening, everything from him going on and moving forward, and to him trying to prove. In a sense, he's no longer really trying to prove.
No, I think everybody believes him now.
Yeah, at this point, most people believe him, especially when people start going through the information that he's given. Mm-hmm. At some point, they show him, and something that he talked about in other interviews was this hand thing, right? He talks about this handprint thing. Where
measured the size of the width of your bones or whatever.
Yes.
Right, and so that was how they knew who accessed certain areas within the facility.
Right.
As for is that they had this machine that you put your hand on, and they can measure. Well, it's like almost like a fingerprint machine, but it's like measuring the width of your bones. Yeah. And they know. I'm like, not everybody's hands are the same. They knew, exactly. Like, that motherfucker with the big hands.
Yeah, the big hands.
So that's how they would log.
Yeah.
Accessibility, right? For employees, like who logged that? Well, the guy with 0.45 inches of bone width.
Yeah,
that's got that. Oh, it's a white owl. Oh, god damn that white owl. He's trying to steal our technology.
Yeah, and so that by him in an interview so long ago saying that this technology existed in order to get into the facility, and then a few years ago this picture surfaces. Oh yeah, that matches his description of what he said that they had. But this is years ago. This technology is years ago,
this
decades
is 1989.
ago.
So it probably existed even before the interview occurred, right? And they were saying they were developing it probably since the 40s or the 30s. So who knows, right? He just got there when he got there. When he got there, and they already had the technology. They already had this, yeah. And they've been developing it because apparently there were already ships built and being tested, right? And so I guess they hired him to research it and see if they can make it more efficient, because they understood the technology, but they couldn't duplicate it in a sense, right? It wasn't exactly the same, and so they were trying to refine it, and they happened to get this Bob Lazar guy, supposedly coming from MIT. He's got a master's in physics and a master's in electronics, right? So that's supposedly where they got him.
Yeah, it worked. I think I want to say he also worked at Pierce Junior College, a lot of places. Caltech, big one. Yeah. Everybody knows Caltech. We've talked about it before in other episodes. And so you end up working at Los Alamos, which is there's so many facilities and so many contracts, so many government contracts, so many private corporations that work there. We talk about Bowen working there. Places like I think this is more California, but Skunk Works. I think they used to have a facility under a different name. So there's a lot of places, a lot of companies that work there that are working on government contracts, whether it be for weapon technology, or otherwise.
Yeah.
That's the lab where his name appears in the telephone directory.
Yes.
But, like, I'm looking at, Wikipedia's entry, and they listed as, it's only because he was a technician for Kirk Meyer, which is an outside contractor.
Oh, shit.
But, like, that's how everything else goes. Because that's the one thing where he is still listed. They can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
But everything else, he got wiped.
Yeah, they've been wiping his records clean. Oh, there's no proof that
he never went to MIT. He never did the, but like,
or his degrees, like, there's because he was a whistleblower.
Yeah.
In 1989, they're like, the government's doing this wrong. They're interfering themselves, not for us.
Yeah.
And they're developing this technology in the guise of a secret program.
Yeah.
And they're not letting us. They're not telling us what's really going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially the alien presence. They're consulting with them.
Exactly.
To build these fucking spaceships.
And the other thing is, they went so far to discredit. This is how.
That's when you know you're doing something right.
Yes. Well, I mean, you think about it. The reach that the government went through to discredit this guy. To discredit him completely and in every way, too. I mean, like Pandora said, they have his... he shows up in a directory where, hey, look, he did work there, and they have this proof. He did go to college. Obviously, he's really smart.
He has to be.
Let me just even go way back. When he was a kid, he put a fucking rocket in his fucking bike, a functioning rocket to speed up his bike. How many fucking kids do you know that at his, what was it, like 9, 10 years old, is fucking doing that in their fucking garage?
I was watching WWF.
But yet he's not a scientist.
Yes.
Like, he was already, he understood science. He was able to put a fucking rocket in his bike.
Yeah.
So he was well beyond, like, his group.
Right.
His peers, right? His peers are 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
What are 9-year-olds doing at 9-year-old?
They're fucking,
shit.
going
playing
around.
Monopoly, they're doing whatever.
Yeah, some bullshit games. They really mean nothing.
I don't know. Monopoly's pretty...
Well, it's pretty ambitious, right? But, like... so then he puts out there, he goes under Dennis, he puts out the information that he's found that, hey, look, the government is doing this, they're working on this. I feel like people should know.
Well, you know why he brought it up, right? He said that once he left, that he was getting death threats from the facility saying, you better not say shit, you're under a gag order, and somebody convinced them to go into an interview and to spell everything out, because if he did, then they knew that they did kill him. There, like, it was all true, and so maybe that's why he's not. But that's the reason why he wanted to get interviewed. He thought he was gonna die. Oh, we're gonna take your wife out. We're gonna take your family.
Yeah, they kind of indicated that, and not just that. They try to they try to erase his memory, or what did they try to do? Some weird shit.
Do everything in the book
because they shot his tire.
Yes.
Right. So he almost crashed or whatever, and it would have been like a really bad crash.
They played mind games with him.
Yeah.
I heard one story that he mentioned in an interview where he was so afraid for his life that he carried an Uzi. Right.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. They showed in the documentary. Him out. That was pretty cool.
It was
pretty cool. It's a fucking legitimate Uzi with a enlarged clip, which means it gives you more ammo as you shoot. And he's just like shooting the fucking desert. It's fucking awesome. But it is. It's pretty cool, right?
The story was that he had the Uzi in his car, just in case shit went down. So one time he went to the gym, and he knew already he was being followed, right? So he goes to the gym with his friend. Mm-hmm. And he knew that they were fucking around with him already. Right. And so when he came back, his door was open. Right? All the doors were open. The glove compartment where housed the Uzi.
Uzi, yeah.
They put it on his seat. They didn't touch anything. They didn't steal anything. They just been like, motherfucker, we know where you are, and we know how to fucking like just fuck with you. They didn't take the Uzi. They didn't declip it or anything.
Yeah, they left it there.
Like,
hey, buddy, knew, hey,
just let you know we're still spying on you.
Yeah,
I'm like, and so they know, bro, but they can't kill him because
he knows too much, and
you're too much in the public eye at that point.
And that's the only. I feel like that's
that
the
would
only
lend
way.
me more credibility.
Yes, exactly. and also on top of that, I feel like that would be the only way that if you were in the government and you had information, that would be the only way that to stay alive, right? That would be the only way to stay alive, is to be so much in the public eye, I'm talking about you would have to have like all the social media accounts.
But he like
go
avoids
live every
stuff. He's really like avoiding.
Yes, he's
he hates it.
He hates it. Yes.
He doesn't want to be regarded as his messiah of UFOlogy, right? Like it's kind of ironic where like the more he hides, the more recognition he gets.
The more recognition and more mysterious, and the more you want to know what he knows.
Well, it goes to show that he didn't do it to be like
For
that
money or
guy.
for fame.
He did it for money.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Because some fuckers, like David Wilcock and all the Graham Hancock, those guys are cool, but they actually do it for the money. Yeah, like that's their bread and butter.
Yeah,
and this guy doesn't want that. He doesn't want that exposure.
He's like, please get off my lawn.
Leave
me alone.
No more. I don't want no more emails. No more text messages.
Don't take pictures. Don't interview. Like he really didn't want to do this interview. Actually, he was really kind of not for it all the way because he didn't want to add more. I guess more of a following and being more in the public eye view for what he was doing. And as you watch the documentary, it's kind of repetitive in a way that you already know because you've stuck to the interviews, you've read his story, you know so much.
There's only so much more.
Yes, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room in the documentary. But for those who don't know, it's a great documentary to sum it all in a way that it even brings you up to date of what he's doing because he has his own lab. He has technicians working for him. What does he do currently?
He's the owner of the United Nuclear Scientific Equipment and Supplies.
And so, what does that even mean?
It means some fancy chemicals, dude.
Right.
He's a supplier.
He's a supplier.
A supplier of some kind of like.
He synthesizes these chemicals. I don't know who contracts him to make it.
Right.
But he's in deep. Like he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Right. Scientific equipment and supplies.
Because you see whenever they're doing the interviews and they're kind of showing what he does in his lab, he's making some kind of like thing, and I don't know what it is. To me, honestly, from like not knowing what he does and seeing him wash out some of the material that he was on, that stuff that it looked like round pebbles. It looks like a raw source of whatever material is to be made into whatever format. Honestly, that shit looked like blueberries. At first, I thought he was washing blueberries. Yes, that's what it looked like.
You like blueberries. You would.
I like blueberries, of course. But like the raw materials that he was working with as he was making them into whatever format that they were, like pellets.
Yeah.
They look like these blueberries that you would fucking like wash out of a box or whatever.
So the actual materials that he sells is radiation sensors, radioactive ores, non-radioactive elements like pure silicon, powerful magnets, and other scientific equipment such as aerogel.
Because some of the stuff that he was messing with looked like it was like these weird magnetic rocks or something.
Did they ever mention the what we were talking about? Element 115.
Yes, they do definitely mention that several times, especially towards the end, because that's pretty much the premises.
The premise of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
That's a foundation of his story. Is that fucking element? Like everything revolves around. We were talking about before we started the podcast,
right? How
we're trying to even. I guess in 2005 we were able to synthesize it, but not like the form that we need to. Used to make these alien ships anti-gravitational fluid or whatever, right?
Yes, because that's that's the end game, right? Essentially, is that's what they want to have that material essentially stabilize. God damn, that's
stable form.
Stable form, yes.
The reason it's more important is that there was an analogy, right? How were you able to fly these crafts and you didn't understand how? Like eventually, like say you leave a motorcycle with bushmen, right? People who've never seen it, and you leave the key in there and there's gasoline. Eventually, they're gonna, turn the key. They're gonna eventually figure it out.
Yes.
Now the thing is, they'll be able to ride until the gasoline is gone. Same thing with the alien ship. We were able to fly them only to a certain extent because we had a very small amount of the 115.
Right.
And so they were kind of questioning, well, how were you able to fly? But he made that analogy, right?
Right.
Like messing around with it enough times, you're gonna get it to work.
Mm-hmm.
But then the fuel is kind of like the crux of the issue that you only have so much fuel to mess around with.
Well, he wants it to be like renewable though, right?
Right. And to put it into renewable form where it comes and it goes through its process and they're able to recycle that and more in a continuous format.
he was saying that element 115, that specific isotope, was 100% efficient, right? Mm-hmm. Like the way he was describing how the craft worked is that they would have a small particle accelerator, and that would shoot a beam of particles to that element 115, mm-hmm. which would create antimatter. Right. And antimatter is 100% pure energy, mm-hmm. right? And so they would use that energy and harness it and essentially power the craft.
Right.
And so if you can get element 115, I think all your energy needs are taken care of.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
it's interesting because I'm looking like he has this 2005 interview where they're talking about like powering cars, mm-hmm. right?
Right.
And obviously, like now we have like green
vehicles,
but
right.
At that time, he said, every major car company is working on a hydrogen system, and the only difference is they want to sell you a new hydrogen car, sure. and then sell you the hydrogen gas at the hydrogen gas stations. But he's like, we're making a conversion kit where you can use your own car instead of buying the hydrogen. You just basically make it. So he was already kind of going off that concept of like it's renewable or it's self-generating.
Yeah, self-generating, where it will eliminate fuel companies.
And using water and using solar power generators. So.
But didn't he develop a vehicle, right?
I mean, by now I'm sure he has. I haven't seen anything of it like recently.
Because that's like one of the. That's something.
I'm sure not mass-produced, but.
But that would be something that would kill the automotive industry. Is if you were
that's another conspiracy.
Yeah.
If you make something self-efficient, you're not going to need the gas.
If you do something that takes out an entire industry, like you bet your ass they're coming for you.
They're going to either make up like a crime, right? Put your ass in jail, or kill you, or threaten to kill you or your family, mm-hmm. right?
Right.
Same thing with the Tesla. He had electric engines in the 30s already.
Yeah.
And they knew that it was going to kill the whole oil business industry, right? Yeah. They're like, we can't let this come up.
Well, he wanted people to have energy just like for free, not like with the electric company.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm imagining. We were able to develop electric engines for, it's almost been 100 years since he did that. We would have had flying cars already. Or we getting from fossil fuels. We wouldn't be needing them.
We wouldn't be so fucked as we are now.
Oh, yeah. We
wouldn't be so fucked right now. I think if we would have gone the route that Tesla and other people who have come to pass at their level, we wouldn't have the problems that we have now as far as weather concerns. I don't think our technology would have advanced so much.
It would have been way different.
Yeah.
But the corruption and the money, they were standing to lose trillions.
And I feel just the way as we talked about before when we talked about Parson is that sometimes you have these fucking people that come around and fucking derail you, and you could have been great at something, but because this one fucking asshole comes around, always just gonna derail you from being so far advanced and improving our way of life. And
exactly.
Well, I feel like they are trying to get him because he's had several like legal run-ins. I mean, that's mentioned the whole
been in
like
court.
Yeah, because he got in trouble for something with prostitution.
Yeah, the brothels. He's trying to install security equipment at brothels. I mean, he's a little dirty, whatever.
Well, no, I was.
No, go ahead.
I was like, hold on, what? Because that sounds really weird, right? But like, I was reading into it, and I mean, okay, he may or may not have hired a prostitute, but he was using this local known prostitute to solicit customers. So what I think is that he was trying to get blackmail material on people.
Oh, I mean that's.
So it's playing a longer game.
Right. I like that. It's a long con.
Because what it was is that he met this prostitute. They met for several hours. They talked about UFOs. He told her that he had a master's degree from 2 universities.
Oh.
And then he helps her in setting up a business or something. I don't know if it was prostitution business, but
that makes sense.
That makes total sense. More
apparently,
than him as a dirty man.
She told him, that when she got arrested, she basically had said that he was involved.
Right.
But they couldn't really prove the prostitution charges against her, but they gave him like I guess like community service and stuff like that.
150 hours community service.
There's no evidence to suggest that he might have been using the information for blackmailing purposes, but they had found pictures of customers in like a waiting room or whatever, but there was no videos of like the trick rooms or whatever.
Right, of them, whatever
so I mean, but either way, like if you get somebody who's somebody
and say, this is what we got
in a photograph at this place, I mean, wouldn't that be good blackmail?
Yeah, really good blackmail, because he was being blackmailed himself.
Right.
I think he was trying to play the same game. If these fuckers are gonna play tricks,
like he's trying to play dirty with them too,
right?
Yeah.
And so he's an electrician, right? So I'm sure he was able to at a brothel, right? So that makes sense, right? Security cameras and brothel, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe him himself, whatever. Maybe he's not that kind of a guy. But you're gonna catch.
Well, he hired a prostitute, and they talked about UFOs for hours. I mean, it sounds like he had other things on the agenda.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Hey, talking about UFOs.
I got a big old UFO, bro.
It's like it's like you hire a prostitute and then you put her to work in the field or something.
But maybe she knew like the people who were in there, like the customers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? That was his ticket in a way.
Some other girl.
To hey, look, we have the same interests, but I'm gonna need you to get this dude, and then we're gonna take pictures. I'm gonna blackmail him for getting him to get me materials, to get me information, documents, whatever. And he may have not, recorded whatever happened. He recorded you, he took a picture of you in the waiting room, and that's just enough to scare someone.
Yeah. Hey,
even if nothing happened,
just leave a photo of that, like by the person you want to fuck with, on in the front of his door, and like, hey, that's like, happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop fucking around. Yeah, because I got more.
Yeah. Right. And that's just that's enough.
Hey, you don't want to I could tell your wife next time.
Exactly.
It could be bad. Yeah. Bad news. And so I'm like, maybe that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But he's gotten in trouble. Like that is one.
So
thing.
What else happened?
Come on, man.
Well, with his business, he got in trouble for because remember I mentioned like the stuff that he makes, right? Like all the different radioactive type stuff. So he had gotten in trouble for, I guess, shipping across state lines, which there's probably some regulation. And then they also, him and his wife got in trouble for, or they got fined. The business got fined like $7,500 for violating a law prohibiting the sale of chemicals and components for illegal fireworks.
That's bullshit.
So it's like they're like looking for like little shit here and there.
Like what, for illegal fireworks? Hey, that if you sell the product legitimately, that's the other person's problem for what they do with it. That's not yours.
Well, when did he whistleblow? Like when did he come out and say?
1989.
89.
Yeah. For that interview.
You want to know when the prostitution thing was?
1990.
1990. Yeah. So like in the beginning, he was probably trying to fight it, right?
Right.
And then it didn't work.
So. And maybe that's when they were fucking around with him even more.
They tried to get him for that car he had too.
Bro, it was I was listening to them like, it's ridiculous, these charges. They don't have enough. They're just like, they're trying to bother you continuously. Here's the thing, they can continuously bother because they have the funding, they have the manpower, they have the will, whatever. They have no lives really, and they are able to continuously bother him and run him through legal manners and take money from him. He may not be able to handle all that on a financial on a financial platform, right? Because what happens when a corporation comes after you? It's over.
Because
millions.
They have millions. They have money. They can run you through court, and you have to pay all those fees for going to court and having to lawyer up. That's just
your time, your money, and your well-being. It gets destroyed.
That gets destroyed.
You have to miss work.
Yeah,
like your family's gonna get in ruins because I can't handle it.
Exactly.
Saying that's what. Yeah, that's fucked
up.
That's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But I think Bob was smart enough to be like, well, if they're gonna play games, I'm gonna try to play games too.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And then in the documentary, they kind of want to allude. Okay, hey, let's be real. Do you have this fucking element? I mean, they kind of want to know, hey,
like when they're out in the woods.
They're out in the woods, out of fucking no. What is it? No cell phones. They turn the cell phones off.
Yeah, they like do something with the cell phone.
They have a legitimate conversation, and was it as they having the conversation or after that
it's
the
like
shit
the
gets
following
rated?
Day or something.
The following day, the shit gets rated.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because they're like, okay, he has it. Where is it?
So break it down. You remember what he says and describes? There were FBI agents, people in hazmat suits.
He said there was just like so many people at his place. It was a business site, right, where they raided.
Yeah.
They said that they came into something with the computers, right? They were looking for like
hackers.
Something with like an order. It almost seemed like completely unrelated to that, but it was like if you're gonna look through like sales or purchase records.
Right.
Why are you bringing in like so many freaking people from all these agencies? And it was like a complete raid of everything.
They had everyone.
They separated the employees. You know, everybody that was in there, like a different room.
The FBI. Dude.
Not just that. I mean, again, they had people in hazmat suits. They brought in like computer experts, hackers, chemists. They brought a whole fucking fleet of people. He said there was like the whole street was lined up with vehicles, and the other side of the street was lined up with vehicles. There's agents after agents coming in. When he opened the door to his place, there was an agent like literally right behind him, looking over his shoulder to see that he was opening the door. They went through all his fucking files. They went through all his shit. There wasn't a fucking corner or anything that they couldn't have not overturned. They looked through everything, and they flipped his shit open, man, to see what he had. But if this was about a sales, something that he sold to a third party that may have been doing something suspicious and weird, they could have just called him, or a couple of agents could have shown up, asked for the receipt if this was true, because apparently that's what it was about, and gotten that receipt. But did they do that? No. They went in through his shit and they flipped everything he had.
I think it was maybe they were convinced that he had the element. Mm-hmm. It was in hazmat. I mean, maybe they were like, this shit's radioactive.
Right.
Like, you're gonna get sick, right? And so apparently they probably thought he had.
Exactly. That's the only thing that I could think of, because his information of what his company does is public. If that the concern was anything kind of like radiation materials, why bring in the hazmat suits? They had to have thought that he had this material there, and they were going to go in and they're going to find it.
So they're taking no chances with him. They're
exactly.
Like, he might have it.
He might have. There's a good chance he might have something.
I don't know why he would keep it there. All obvious. But
why would you think he would keep it there? That's stupid. Are you retarded? Day one on FBI? Like what?
The FBI are retarded, bro. They do things like caveman style. They just they'll overturn everything until they find what they are supposedly looking for.
Right.
And so they're not efficient in doing their searches.
You have to think. This guy went to MIT. He's obviously has a whole fucking lead in front of, like, ahead of you guys. Yeah. So if you think he's gonna hide anything that he may have that may be illegal,
right there in his desk.
That's where it was.
We're gonna catch him off guard, motherfucker. Like he's been doing this for 30 years since that interview came out. He's already been suspicious of government officials.
Yeah.
So knowing that. He's probably thinking every day they're probably looking for the 115.
Right.
So he's going to hide it somewhere where he's not going to give it up.
Yeah. It's going to be in someone's private land that has no fucking connection to me.
It's going to be like in his fridge next to a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like,
there he had it.
Wrapped in foil. Yeah, I knew it.
It's wrapped in foil.
I knew it. It's right there.
It's in the Tupperware. It's just chilling.
Oh, that's where he had it.
That's stupid, bro. Like, how stupid are you? Yeah. Couldn't you think, like, oh, this guy's probably hiding it? It's not going to be in an obvious spot.
Yeah.
Right? And so he's been hiding things for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
I think he's got good of hiding things, right? Yes. Especially that 115.
Yeah, exactly. If that's his only proof to legitimize what he's been saying for these fucking years, he's not gonna put it anywhere that anyone could just stumble upon or find. No, this motherfucker probably has like a piece of land where he built something that's like 6 floors deep,
bro,
and you know, and someone who is completely unrelated to him.
Yeah, I think maybe somebody else has it, but that's working with him, and it's not near his business. It's not near his house. It's not even probably in the city. It's probably somewhere else.
Yeah,
and you're looking inside a fucking business for the 115.
Yeah,
like how stupid are you? Like from a scale of 1 to 10, bro, they're like 20 stupid.
Off the charts.
Off the charts, bro.
I don't know. I just think it's so obvious that he just doesn't have it with him. You're not gonna find it on him.
You believe he has it?
I think he does have it. He has. Maybe it's not the same amount that had people thought. Maybe half, and maybe a third or something. Mm-hmm. But I think he has a good amount where all he needs is to find the formula that can bring in that element into a stable form, and boom, publicize that. And that's all he
I have it. This is our energy cures right here.
And maybe the FBI knows that he's already been able to get into a stabilized form, and they're afraid that he might sell it to someone, like another country. That's the only thing that I could think of.
Or work with another country that will allow him to develop it in a positive sense, right? Right. Like maybe there's some like white angels out there, like we're gonna help you, Lazar. But
here's the thing.
You gotta come over here.
Here's the biggest problem that Bob Lazar is gonna run into. Let's say he has it in a stable form. What country is gonna help him?
No,
this
Russia,
is
bro.
the thing. Well, I mean, where's Snowden these days? Russia, right?
Yeah.
That's the only fucking place you're gonna be able to go because everybody's fucking working with the U.S.
Yeah.
You know. Look what happened to fucking Assange. You know, the UK had always said that they wouldn't let him go, but you know, then he had to run to the fucking what's the embassy he had to run to?
For Assange?
Yeah,
the Ecuadorian
embassy for him to be held there for a while, and they ended up getting him.
That's what nobody's saying.
He has to go to Russia. That's the only fucking place. He's gonna have to go up to fucking Canada and then go through fucking Iceland and then go through fucking Russia.
Well,
like,
if he has Element 115, do you think he took it from Area 51 when he was doing the reverse engineering?
I think that's what.
Or you think he's just figured out a way to create it?
I think he stole that, and he's
because if he stole it, then it's a stable version, most likely.
Because
it's the one that's not from here. It's not synthesized.
And that's what I'm thinking. They had 500 pounds of that shit supposedly, right?
Right.
I don't know. Apparently, they're so mad that he probably has a legitimate amount that you can like power these vehicles or power whatever you want.
Yeah.
They were saying even the alien crabs, you can manipulate the gravity boosters as particle beams, right? Like as a weapon. So maybe they're worried. I'm like, man, this guy works with the Russians or the Cubans. Like they're gonna get a hold that material and
I don't know why the Cubans, but I guess.
No, I know.
No, but if you think about it, I mean, the Cuban people. You see what they've done
That's
to those
That's
fucking 50s.
those little classic
exactly
cars.
right. No, you see those.
Element 115.
They throw in a washing machine. Fucking parts into a car engine and they make it work. I mean, that's pretty fucking powerful.
Just put it on drive for 30 minutes, you get a brand new car. But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I think they're concerned that not just he has Element 115, not that it could just power these vehicles, that it can also be used as like a weaponized substance, right? They can use it to create extraterrestrial guns in a sense, right? Yeah. And so.
Well, it's extremely radioactive, like the synthesized form that they've made. So it's like
gun,
like a particle gun. Yes, it's the same.
Getting hit with that?
What's that?
I said getting hit with that.
It's like antimatter gun. It's
would you go undone?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You and some other stuff probably.
Like in the Avengers.
That's what I was thinking. Like that's some Iron Man shit. Like.
Oh fuck.
No, I think we'll just blow you apart.
Blow you apart. Yeah.
It's an atomic weapon, dude.
Yeah, like in a molecule kind of way.
Yes.
Like it would literally
disintegrate your atoms, and maybe what do you feel like when you get disintegrated? Like Mars Attacks.
Super torture.
You know
yes.
Guns,
Yeah.
They shoot you and
then you just disintegrate it. Yeah. Something like that.
Must suck.
But I mean that's probably what that's definitely a fear, but the way he described the way these UFOs work, I thought it was amazing. His little drawing that he does, and kind of say, hey, look, this is how these things work. There's 3 little things on the bottom that kind of make the gravity boosters. Yeah, the gravity boosters. The way it's able to stand in a form and then take off wherever the top plate of
chasing a gravity distortion. And so it's basically, he was saying, like, it's almost like it's momentum. It's like going downhill. It's chasing that gravity distortion that's in front of the vehicle.
So when he's talking about that, the way I imagine was the way I want to say it was Hawking's, the way he thought towards the end that a UFO would kind of pull from a location and pull itself through.
I was gonna mention that
right.
Instead of you going there, you're taking there to you.
Yes, exactly, and that would be like the fucking easiest and fastest way to move.
That's what I'm saying. So you don't need to go light speed to go fast or to get somewhere quick. You would bend space with gravity waves, and then you're basically pinching space where you're lessening the distance between you and the location, and then you kind of just skip over.
It's like if you think about it, if you're trying to think how this is, if you're looking at Google Maps, right, and any state or any city you're in. And picture the point in the middle is you, right? Let's just say there's a point in the middle, it's you. And you type in wherever you want to go, and that map just moved for you. Instead of you moving to the point, the whole map just, boom, there it goes. There, you're there. You're bending the fabric of time and space to you, and that's how. In science fiction, that's how everyone thought that you would be able to travel in a faster way. And then now we have a science that can explain that, hey, this is plausible.
There's no way you can go the speed of light. First of all, you need an infinite amount of energy. But imagine going that speed, any single little particle is going to destroy your whole ship. How do you navigate going that fast anyways? Right? And so even going the speed of light, it's not feasible to say... You're not going to be alive in 10,000 years, right? The Zeta Reticular star system, right? Even going to speed of like 10,000 years is still a long time. So you need another form of traveling large distances, so where you would bend the space time continuum basically, and you just skip over to the spot, right? You just fold space. And there I am, and then unfold it, and then everything's all good.
Exactly.
Again.
Yeah.
And you're there. You say, I don't probably takes you a second to get there.
Yeah.
Because that. All you're doing is...
second to get there.
Dude.
I might be a second lane.
That's too
bad we're there.
You're late, goddamn. You're late for
if you're not 50 seconds early, you're late.
How dare you?
But it's amazing that to think that anybody who grew up with science fiction and who grew up with watching Star Wars and Star Trek and watching anything from like They Came from Outer Space, like any of these movies... You watch this and then you have this fucking this science that can explain that, hey, look, this is the way you can move, and not ever having to think about that. Is this ever going to be possible? Do you have now a good way of saying that, hey, look, by Bob Lazar, there's a very good chance that we might see it in our lifetime, that this shit is real. We might be able to see a ship go through space in our lifetime. And
that's right.
There's now committees talking about this, about building a fucking ship to travel through our own system. I mean, since now we have SpaceX and they're making more of this closer to reality to go to Mars, we're not talking about going to fucking Jupiter. We're not talking about go to
another galaxy. To another star system. Outside of the solar system. Solar system ain't shit when we have that technology.
Right.
And we can potentially find other beings, right? Maybe
I'm talking about tourism.
I'm talking about the economics surrounding it.
Like that. I mean, you think about it. If you really think about it, if they would have released this technology to companies, that would be like a whole other job creating. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's a whole other like thing to think about, and that in itself could save the world economically, and put everybody to having money in their pockets. I mean, if you think about it, we're moving to
money. Maybe we don't need money as a
source
too. Of what do you call it? Money is a sense of it's a tool.
It's a tool to like value people in an independent way, instead of valuing people in a manner that's more productive, or in a more, I don't know, what's another way to say that? Like another, like we value certain people, right? Certain people make more money, but do they really do much for society or for people, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like a CEO makes millions of dollars, while somebody else who's working for the community, it's making actual changes and not really doing much. Like, why should one person be valued more than the other person? You know what I mean? But that's a whole other thing. That's a whole fucking other thing.
I mean, we could always go back to the bartering system, and then we'll see who's really valuable.
I'm sure your hammer for your shovel. Are we good? Yeah.
All right, here we go. But yeah, I mean, I hope that one day we're able to come out with whatever Bob Lazar has, and if he's able to put it out and put out something that is concrete and that can show us that, yes, he's been right this whole time. We already know, when we feel like, based on the information that's given to us, that he is correct and he is right, and whatever he has said before has solidified him as an elite person in the UFO community. But I mean, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
What's that?
What do you guys think?
So I was reading
closing thoughts.
The Zeta. So I was just gonna say the Zeta Reticuli. Mm-hmm. It's only 39 light years away from Earth, which is not that far. So maybe they don't have to do the space bending, but they probably did anyway.
I mean, yeah,
39 years is still a long time. It's like half our lifetime here. For me, I think the way I interpreted it in 1989, he did it because he thought that the government was going against the people developing this technology, consulting with these aliens, supposedly from the Zeta Reticuli star system. And so I think, like, it only takes one person to change somebody's paradigm, right? Mm-hmm. The way you think the world actually works. It's not just nuts and bolts. There's actually shit that's going on that you're completely unaware of.
Right.
And he was able to man up and actually expose that part of the government where they thought that nobody was going to ever expose him. And now look at it. Now we're talking about him 30 years later.
Right.
There's books on him. He's getting interviews with like Larry King and everything. Like, it's blowing up.
Right.
30 years later. I think it's gone a movement, and I think it's a positive movement. He's not making money. I think the movement, I think people are supporting him because of his lack of being out there in the public. Mm-hmm. I think he's actually like a messiah. Right. Without being ironically like, I don't want to be this guy, but the more that you stay low key, the more that you're just growing in fame. Right. But in a good way, I think he'd be the guy.
Yeah.
Right? I think he'd be the guy to expose it even more and to develop this technology, hopefully in the future. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Pedro?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off that, I agree, because I think he's just like, he has everything to lose.
Yes,
I mean, he has lost a lot, because he's lost or been discredited, right?
Right.
He's been fine. He's been taken.
Like, I think he's confident that he's going to eventually be proven right. I mean, he's, like 60 now? I don't know if he's going to live to see it, but I mean, it's starting to come out that, that element 115 exists, that, we might have similar technology. Mm-hmm. I just come across this thing where, like, it shows his, that he had presented a W-2 back in the day, which shows that he was employed by the United States Department of Naval Intelligence.
There you go.
Which supposedly hasn't officially existed since a brief period during World War II.
Wow.
So that kind of tells you it's almost like he was working for something that didn't even exist.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to exist.
It wasn't supposed to exist.
And now he's got proof.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. It's a little interesting because the more I look into it, the more it seems like this has been around for a really long time. Some of the gravity technology that he talks about supposedly was around since like the time of the Nazis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, we brought a lot of the scientists over.
Yeah.
Because why? Because they had a lot of this information.
They were developing the technology. They had it. Yeah. And then we created NASA as a guise as the people's space program.
Yeah.
But what was actually going on was shit like this, Area 51, S4, and all these underground military bases.
So it was like probably their knowledge on that stuff that saved them. They were like, well, they're useful.
And Braun, we talked about the Glock before. So I mean, this is something that definitely fits to the storyline that we've always talked about, especially in the UFO community. You look at all these forums on Reddit and all the other forums online, and you see a lot of people talking about this because they believe on the material that's been put out. They believe on the documents that have been presented by foreign nations and our own. Come on, you can't just discredit everything that's been put out that people have talked about, and especially people who work either with NASA at some point or work with the U.S. government or work with any other government, like I said before, and not just that, not even going so far. There's civilians that have seen shit in the sky. You can't just credit everyone. Sure, there's some stories out there. There's people that just want to see and they want to believe, but there's people out there that actually seen. I've been outside where I've seen some weird shit where you see what looks like a shooting star and then do a 90-degree turn like that, and you're like, and then go faster than when it was going before.
I'm just going insane.
Yeah, it's just like, oh shit, and you kind of pointed it out, but like, there's people out there that definitely believe in this and they definitely have the information. I just think it's just a matter of time before something much bigger comes out. And with that being said, I hope you guys like this episode. Please like and share. And again, if you like to hear about anything else, hit us up on our comments, Facebook, Twitter, and our we have an Instagram, and hopefully we'll have the YouTube channel up soon. And when the YouTube channel will definitely condense a lot of our episodes to a shorter, very brief and it'll cut through a lot of the stuff that maybe you guys are not very interested in, but we'll definitely keep entertaining. And we'll see you on the next episode. Laters.